is just fantastic.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Yesterday, while streaming on Twitch, I was informed that Chantal had decided to leave Canada, all the freedoms, luxuries and liberties available to her there, and to head over to Syria, a country which, even with my limited knowledge, I knew about there being restrictions getting to, and Chantal, during the 2-hour live stream telling us how she got there, she did in fact indicate how difficult it was for her to get there. Since that live stream, a part 2 of which I'll be covering tonight on this channel, at 8 PM UK time, 3 PM Eastern, she has released a video detailing part of her journey. Now of course in this video we're going to go through that. We're also going to raise a number of points that must be raised when it comes to a middle-aged woman committing to a bit when she clearly needs a mental health wellness check and a very much mandated psych eval.
Hello, foodie beauties.
I know in the past I used to get flack for having a like, share, subscribe, intro, captain's log. This is longer, stop it. And I miss doing the captain's logs. But this is what we have to put up with for a video, essentially forfeiting 1 minute's worth of content, because if she didn't have it, she wouldn't be able to insert mid-roll ads. Not a joke, by the way.
Hello, guys.
Oh, you're going to do a tourist thing, aren't you? That's what this is, isn't it? You know, instead of rushing to get to the finish line because of what you're about to lose, I mean, you don't have access to an ATM, and I'm assuming your money's going to be garnished to pay off those taxes you still owe in Canada. You could have stuck around in Istanbul for a week, gone to the Grand Bazaar, maybe bought yourself a few knickknacks, a bit of delight, although I'm no doubt in my mind, since it's not deep fried or made by Burger King, you wouldn't have appreciated actual Turkish delight. But no, I guess because of how much it is to be there, the cost of it in Istanbul, especially the airport, the hotel, I doubt you could have afforded it even with all the donations you got when you returned to YouTube after your fleeing of Kuwait, from Kuwait.
Welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be showing you guys this hotel that I'm staying at the Istanbul airport.
I'm going to go ahead and surmise that Salah has already found his way to Syria if you are on your own in a hotel in Turkey. And just the thing, yes, there's some grainy qualities to this video. It's actually from her filters, desperately trying to make her look weirdly smoother than she actually is. Her face is a topographical map of Thomas the Tank Engine, if Thomas the Tank Engine had already been smashed up a few times with one of those mallets you use on a piece of meat. I mention this explicitly because this is the kind of content you wouldn't expect on Chantal's main channel. You would expect it on the couple's channel. You would expect it there, rather than her cataloguing, vlogging, detailing her journey to one of the most oppressive regimes in the world, just so she can commit even further to the bit.
Now, there is a hotel here that you can rent by the hour.
I'm sure somebody already made the joke, but if you're renting it by the hour, I can only surmise that the reason it's for the hour is so someone can perform a service. Don't worry, no one's paying you by the hour.
Or for a night, whatever. I rented it for 11 hours. I have a 12-hour layover here at the airport, and after a 9.5-hour flight, I got through passport control, I got through, you know, the transfers, all that stuff, security, and I was so exhausted. Like, I couldn't sleep on the plane at all, and I was so tired.
During the first hour of the 2-hour livestream I went through last night, second hour of which will be this evening, link in the pinned comment to that livestream that is, you detailed this 12-hour layover and alluded to getting a hotel. In truth, no one cared. The majority of those in your live chat when you live streamed this were saying, leave Syria please, for your own safety. Now in the past you've said repeatedly, no one tells me what to do. You need to start listening to other people for a change, because much like Amber, when it comes to thinking you know what's best for you and she knows what's best for her, she's a half-ton heifer, and you are a half-ton heifer in a land where women's rights are non-existent. You right now are in Damascus, and you believe yourself to be safe. Last night in my live chat, there are people from Syria in Syria. They know that there are some safer areas, yes. The leader, not so safe. The people, the militia, not so safe. In fact, nothing about what you're in is safe for you. And if you are legitimately married to Salah, he has absolute control over you. Absolute control. You may not like that, and that is what you have willingly done to yourself, which may well, if you somehow manage to leave, may well lead to more checks. They'll get a vet, a farmer, a cow type to check you for keister stashing, because they're going to think you're a mule.
So thirsty, so hot. I just wanted to rest and have a nice shower to be refreshed. So,
well, it's going to be one hell of a culture shock to you now you have no running water in Syria, having to exist with what's more commonly known charitably as a whore's bath. During the stream I covered, the first hour you were sweating. If you're already sweaty like that through your hijab in the way you were, this is going to be a very, very interesting challenge. You think, by the way, with no access to insulin, that's going to help you lose weight. You somehow got your CPAP there. They can't repair it. Medical healthcare is non-existent, as are vets, so Julia's going to struggle if any issues arise. There's no fast food, no ATMs. How you're going to afford anything is going to be an actual sodding miracle.
because I'm still not done my travel journey, so I still have to go from Istanbul to Beirut in Lebanon, and then from Lebanon, I take a taxi ride for another almost 3 hours driving, not including the immigration area, like going through customs.
If you're interested in looking up whether or not it is safe to travel to Lebanon, allow me to save you the bother. Do not travel to Lebanon due to huge crime rates, terrorism, civil unrest, kidnapping, unexploded landmines, and the risk of armed conflict, especially near the borders. How stupid are you that you would go so far for something you do not understand? I said this last night, and I'll say it in video as well. I do not believe you know what love actually feels like. I think you need something, and you'd willingly forfeit every freedom and luxury you had in Canada to pretend to know happiness and love. Unconditional love, just to be very clear here. Love of food is a very different type of love. There are different types of love in Latin. In this instance, I don't believe Chantal understands agape, storge, pragma. I think she's very much mania, yeah? Love of food or an object? Yeah, nah. This is why I do not believe she understands what it means to be in love or happy, because she takes too much for granted. She is a quintessential millennial.
So I do not want to go meet my husband all sweaty and gross and tired. So I booked this hotel. It's not cheap. I'm just gonna say that. It's in euros.
No one cares about the cost because that's your stupid money. Additionally, by the time you got there, after having to travel for many hours through Lebanon, you were sweaty and greasy and dirty again. So really, this was you just trying to find a reason to make content for the minimal views you will get on this video. You're a live streamer that barely knows how to make a stream work, which is why your streams do so well for you. This video got 5,000 views. It did not make anywhere near the amount of money you would need to cover the cost of the hotel. You think it also shows you off in a good light, because it means look how far I'm willing to go for love, guys. Oh my god, I'm so special to be closer to my beloved and the cat that doesn't like me.
If you're thinking of booking it, I would recommend it if you're really tired. I think this airport, there's quite a few long layovers here, like 12-hour layovers, from what I understand, and I was unfortunate enough to have a 12-hour layover, and I was like, there's no way I'm sitting in a hard chair for 12 hours.
I could have offered you some solutions to that. Play video games, read a book, make some videos actually in Istanbul while you're there in the airport. In fact, there were options for you. Many people had suggested to you in your live chat, why didn't you stay in Istanbul for a couple days, make some content? But this is where your more introverted nature comes into it. Without Salah there, or somebody else there, a foil to energize you by sticking it between your teeth, you are stuck. And you get such horrific tunnel vision that this is how far you're willing to go to stick it to the haters because of your rather obvious identity crisis. I'm starting to understand why Amber hasn't uploaded yet. Yeah, you're center stage right now.
I want to put my feet up, I want to sleep, and I just want to rest and relax and then have a nice shower. So I'm going to show you a bit the room, what it's like, and it was perfect. It did the job. I'm fully refreshed. I had a really nice long hot shower. I slept for several hours anyways. I was out, you know.
Firstly, no one cares that you slept, because all humans sleep. Second, and this is another point, you've put emphasis on this shower thing. Now there's a reason for that, because you're about to go to a country where you're not going to be able to do much of that. If you stank before, you definitely stink now. Think really rotten Cornish pasty, cheap one, and really rotten clam chowder. Now you have a rather vivid scratch and sniff smell moment situation type deal in your head. That is going to be you until you finally give in. This is an attrition. Are you willing to stay in Syria or go to Syria, commit to this bit, knowing every luxury you've taken for granted is not there? You have limited electricity as well, by the way, unless you pay extra for it. Now granted, your money might go a bit further. You don't have access to your money. This is how dumb you are. And your extra, the extra being your third season bit part paid slightly more executive producer, Salah, is going to have to front all of that. As if his life hasn't been turned upside down by committing to this bit as well. And by the way, you, Salah, fully deserve it.
If you're at the Istanbul airport and you want somewhere to stay, you can stay here. I think it's called the Yotel. They have sleeping pods as well, but those look small and stuffy and they don't have a shower.
If memory serves, there are two types of hotel pod that Chantal's referring to. The first are the ones that look like a box that you just put a lid over the top. You lay in it. Yeah, no doubt claustrophobia will play a part on that. The second would be the ones that are similar to that of Japan, but slightly bigger. Still though, for Chantal, no waddling space, so she would struggle. Also communal showers, which means also less privacy for her to pretend to be Muslim.
I'm not sure what they're like, but like I'm claustrophobic, so they were kind of small and, you know, and I thought, you have to pay for that too, so if you're going to pay, may as well pay for a room, you know? Anyway, it was worth every red cent, in my opinion, yeah. Okay.
Think about this. All these things, these luxuries, we all have anyway. In the countries we live. It is why I, especially on Twitter, am so passionate about protecting the rights and freedoms of those in England, because England matters to me, and Canada should to you. The rights and freedoms you have there are astronomical, but you're so desperate to pretend that Salah is your husband, to LARP as a Muslim revert. You're so desperate to do that, you'd go to one of the most oppressive regimes on the planet. One where people from Syria, even those that, let's say, aren't as heinous as those in charge, like former and current leaders, would like to actually apply for refugee status. But they can't, because of what has happened. The well has been poisoned, and you've chosen to ignore every warning, every single one, and give up every single, what you dub now a luxury, we just dub part and parcel of our lives, give it all up, including women's rights, just so you can stick it to everyone else. If you're still there in a year, I will be very impressed. If you're still there in a week, I'd be impressed.
Yalla. Most important thing when you come in, controlling the AC, of course. Duh. And you have a do not disturb button here.
This is some of the most monotonous content I've ever come across, where she now shows us around her hotel room. It's a very small room, but this is somehow worth showing us. Which, to an extent, there's a point, actually. Because she's going from this, where she has all the convenience in the world built into one room. Even the shampoos are there as well, and the shower. Yeah, she goes from that to going to a place where she's going to have to wash her clothing in a bowl on the street. Where there are guys standing on street corners with Kalashnikovs. Where she has no access to fast food, she has no access to an ATM, no access to useful healthcare for her and her ailing, diminishing health. A small part of me is wondering if she's doing this solely so she can wait and see if there's a way for her to get back into Kuwait, which is unlikely.
A separate toilet. No bidet, which is minus for me, but...
Would I be right to assume that, much like in Syria where you also don't have a bidet, this is because you can't reach, so that stank is gonna get worse unless you got a stick with a washcloth on it? Or are you also going to be backing that ass up into a corner?
They have a towel warmer. I think that's what it is. Yeah. Area to hang your stuff. Yes, more whatever this is. Yeah, oh, cream, okay. They have a dryer, a sink, plenty of extra towels. Me. Then they have...
Because hotel rooms have stuff. I'm going to skip ahead a little because I don't care about the room you're in. I'm more intrigued about the fact that this is somehow something to show off, but not where you've gone. Yeah, I wonder why that is. Is it because perhaps the internet's too much of a weapon and they'd find you within minutes? Because they've done it every single time without fail, and you've goaded them. Which leads me to wonder, how long upon getting to Syria will it be before you then start to rage in livestream because you're hangry, because you don't have power, you can't wash properly, all for lerv, everyone, for lerv.
So if you have a super long layover at the Istanbul airport and you want to refresh, I would recommend it. Whenever you get into international departures, when you
breathe so much and so heavily between words where you're gulping oxygen in, it's clearly a sign you weigh too much and can't walk for more than 3 minutes without having to take an unnecessary lengthy break. So you drivel on for a while thinking you're providing tourist information on a channel where your audience are majority haters. Sorry, haters! And followers. People you have ostracized, villainized, people you've objectively insulted on a regular basis. People aren't going to be paying any attention to you for tourist information. This is solely done for your ego, nothing more.
Highlighted in purple, you can't miss it. And they have quite a few rooms, so it was a little bit of a hike to get here, like winding corridors. I had to go up to the second floor, then walk a bit. There's a lot of rooms. I was surprised. And yeah, it was really, really worth it. Another thing to be aware of is if you want to pay an extra 45 euros, that gets you unlimited food and drinks.
Not gonna lie, I'm half expecting some of your audience and well-known haters to leave negative reviews on that site. I looked at the prices for that hotel, and I'm gonna say now, you're willing to throw that kind of money on a hotel for 12 hours or 11 on your part? You are really stupid with money, because boy did you waste it. All for that shower. Right. Okay.
I didn't opt for that because the water is just fine. And honestly, I have some barbecue peanuts I've been snacking on. My aunt packed these for me and I was like, barbecue peanuts? Like, why are you giving me barbecue peanuts? And now I get it.
Okay, well, no one believes that for a second. I fully believe you took full advantage of the facilities, Istanbul airport, and had as much junk food as humanly possible. For someone of your size, there's no version of any reality where that is what you say you've eaten true. And no one cares about barbecue peanuts either. The fact your family didn't try to stage an intervention to stop you leaving speaks volumes about how much they failed you as a child and as an adult because you really don't know the word no, and how to shelve your pride long enough to simply accept you are in the wrong and you are so damn stupid. Now, I'm not going to play anymore because there's only about 20 seconds left. It seems redundant for a video that is kind of useless. But I wanted to use it to drive home some points about how desperate she is to have someone in her life because of what she has created for herself, and in doing so forgetting who she is, what she's meant to be instead. Because normality is not a thing for someone like Chantel, who is living on borrowed time in two very real ways: health and location. I don't know if there are any other threats to her life that may come in the future, but Syria is certainly not the hotspot she might want to make it seem like it is. And I know she said she in her live stream was going to do some vlogs in Syria. Don't. Your mouth makes purchases that put you in danger. In Kuwait, it got you kicked out. In Syria, think Camp Sunshine and Al Roj. You might become best friends with Shamima Begum if you're lucky. See you later, guys.